Jennifer, just before we get going, I thought I saw a breaking news alert go by here a minute ago that they reported Canada Post officially in 2024 lost $1.3 billion. I just thought I'd bring that up.
Oh.
So, yeah, I could be wrong. Could have been 1.4. But either way, I saw this go through. And I was mentioning earlier on, and I don't know what's going on. I just heard the ad we ran, right? The public service announcement there, talking about the Canada Post strike. Technically, Canada Post is not on strike, right? Mail is being delivered. My understanding is they're just boycotting overtime. That's what we were told initially. But I was saying I haven't gotten mail in like 4 days. And typically there's mail, some kind of mail, like every day. But I'm not sure what's going on, and we haven't talked about it a lot.
I saw a mail truck on my street yesterday.
Ooh.
I don't get mail every day. Yes, no, I have received mail since this week. But I don't get a lot of mail like everybody else. A lot of things are online. But so hopefully they'll be able to resolve issues, because it was, even though Canada Post is not a money-making entity, as we've been made privy to this week, that every single thing they do is a money-losing initiative. It's quite sad. But people rely on it, and whether it's people at home, you and me, or businesses to ship different things. So it is disruptive. We looked at how disruptive it was, and I mean, just the amount of different things that could be disrupted just based on the ad that you referred to, from the Service Québec, or the thing where people would have to go to Service Québec to go and get, beneficiaries of different government programs. So hopefully that can be resolved. But yes.
Okay, I just double-checked the headline. Canada Post reports $1.3 billion operating loss in 2024.
Oh.
$1.3 billion. Okay, we'll leave that for another day. Let's talk about something else, speaking of billion. And we're talking about the SAC, of course, that budget that went over by $600 million. At least that's what we think now. And the new revelations coming to light today at the commission looking into this. I was talking to Jim Manny earlier, and I'm saying it's kind of like when this started, we knew it was bad. I don't think we had any idea just how bad it was.
Well, we didn't. And what's interesting, and I mean, there was some, looking askance at the makeup of the Gallant Commission, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Maître Gallant is a very thorough person and investigator. And what it came out with was that, Geneviève Guilbeault, the transport minister, and who up until quite recently one would think was eyeing the leadership of François Legault's party.
Right.
But, she's never responsible. She's actually technically, and, under the parliamentary rules, she's technically responsible for many things, but she's not responsible for anything. And she was speaking about taking from a victims fund, which, it's the insurance board. So there's a victims fund if people are injured. And so there's, fortunately a surplus. I hope that means that there are fewer people being injured on the roads. And she wanted to apply it to the debt that's rapidly building up with the Seclic fiasco, that whole automation thing. And I heard you and Jim talking earlier, and I mean, it just goes beyond, when people are being hired and then they're hiring their spouses to work in the same company. I mean, these things would never even be allowed at all in government. And this is barely at arm's length. And, the call for tenders and the whole procurement process, everything is just kind of stinky, but somebody has to be accountable at some level. And, basically it could just be the Quebec, population, because as I mentioned about Madame Guilbeault, I mean, I thought she was looking at François Legault's job, very quite obviously for a number of years. And, the thing with François Legault's party is it's all it is. It's François Legault's party. It's a cult of personality around him. And, if you look at the Quebec Liberal Party, I mean, they've been in a bit of dire straits in the past few years, but they predate Confederation. So they can go back to some victories over the years. But if you look at the CAQ, their glory days, and this is kind of shameful, were the height of the pandemic when Mon Oncle François and Dr. Arruda and then latterly Ministre Dubé would be in our living rooms at 1 p.m. every day telling us everything was going to be fine and whatever. But since then, it's been one debacle after another, whether it's the King's thing, whether it's, our own money, whether it's the credit rating. So, I don't suspect that Madame Guilbeault will be our premier anytime soon.
As I said to Jim, or asked the question, and he's right, he's been doing this a long time. This is nothing, you'd hate to say that living in Quebec, this idea, people taking money, misappropriating it, whether it's going to family or friends, this goes back in history in this city, in this province, seemingly forever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and nothing ever, as he said, nothing ever seems to happen. There's still a Frank Zampino trial going on now. How long has that been? 13 years, 14 years? I mean, it's really kind of crazy. And at the end of the day, it'll get forgotten and everybody walks away. And I don't think anyone's ever going to jail.
Well, and I mean, as these things go on and on and on and on, witnesses die, they forget things, they get older, and it's shocking that this thing has been going on for so long. I mean, I can't even believe when I look at the Gazette and I see headlines about Zampino.
Yeah.
Blast from the past, but not really.
Not at all. It's going on right now, as a matter of fact.
I know.
All right, let me move on and get to what's going on in Ottawa. So we had the King's speech yesterday, the speech from the throne, and then today, first day for the new Parliament. What'd you take away from this today?
Well, today was the first time since 2008 that I actually watched Question Period. And there are related situations. One, it's because it's the first time since 2004 that Pierre Poilievre has not been in the House of Commons. So in 2008, I stopped watching it because of his antics as a government MP. It just the tone. I can't watch this anymore. So I stopped watching it. So today was another first. So it was the first question period for my friend and former MP, Francis Scarpelleja. So I really wanted to congratulate him. I know that a lot of people in the Montreal area and the West Island are so proud of him. Sure. And so he handled himself well. They were not out of control, but they were a lively bunch, making up for lost time. And of course, it was Prime Minister Carney's first question period as as Prime Minister, because the House was not sitting before. So they handled it well. I think the PMO did some good research in terms, because there were questions about and comments too in the member statements which precedes question period about the fact that there isn't a budget, there won't be a budget tabled until the fall. So basically what the PMO staffers did is they were able to go into the platform that, the recent Conservative platform, and say that nowhere in there did it say that, Poilievre was going to table a budget within his first 100 days. So he was able to deflect that a little bit, and it looks like the Conservatives are supporting the Liberals' Ways and Means motion, so they'll be able to get some things done. But no, it was interesting. It was lively. Some questions about the Prime Minister's personal finances. So I'm expecting we're going to see a little bit more of that. It was kind of strange not seeing any NDP MPs and questions. The block. It's International Milk Day, Aaron. So
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's International Milk Day, and of course, you and I have talked about supply management a lot, and there are lots and lots and lots of dairy farmers in that supply managed industry in Quebec. So there was a lot of applause in the House of Commons for the recognition of International Milk Day.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that, because today is also National Hamburger Day. So it's interesting that would also be happening on the same day. Go figure. Listen, I'm curious to know, with respect to, and I talked about this off the top of the show because I couldn't believe we were still talking about it. The Justin Trudeau footwear situation, did that get any traction today? More traction?
Well, it kind of did, and it's kind of more like a bit of, why would you do that? I saw some pictures that an associate of mine took from the balcony of the Senate yesterday, and he was able to zero in on the shoes, and I was looking at them, and it kind of reminded me of, like you see somebody who's dressed and they've forgotten their shoes, or you would see back in the day people, a lot of times women, because they're going to the office and they're commuting and they're wearing running shoes with a suit. But
right.
That when they get to their office, they're going to remove it and
right.
put on proper, footwear. It looked a little bit weird. And the fact is that, Justin Trudeau he wears clothes well. I'm surprised he would choose shoes that were so ugly. I don't know if there was some symbolism with the...
Now wait a sec. That's kind of, beauty's in the eye of the beholder here. Some people think those shoes are quite lovely, the Adidas Gazelles that he was wearing. So
I don't know.
Just saying.
I'm an Adidas fan myself. I am, but I might have chosen a different color combination.
Do you? I mean, I want to get out of this, but I did want to just ask one thing. Some people are suggesting. First of all, I can't believe we're talking about this. Some are suggesting he was actually trying to make a point. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there are some people. It's a bit like last week, and I don't want to go too back in time. It's like, last week with Denis Coderre, there's some people that are very much used to being in the spotlight and having the attention on them, and they don't adjust well when it's not on them anymore. And, but other than that, it seemed like everybody that was present yesterday was having a good time. So it was formal because of what it is. It's a speech from the throne, but in a Canadian way. And it looked like all of the former prime ministers who were there. And unfortunately, Monsieur Chrétien was having a stent put in yesterday, so he wasn't in attendance. So we'll wish him a speedy recovery on that. But everybody just looked like they were having a good time. So aside from the footwear that of former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he was, yucking it up with Prime Minister Stephen Harper, which is not something that one expects to see Prime Minister Harper in a light moment, but there it was. So it was actually quite a sight to behold. It was nice, and right. That it was pulled off so quickly, the entire speech from the throne and the visit and the war memorial visit and everything like that. It was really amazing. It went off like clockwork.
I have to go, but I want to ask you one last question. I'm going to let this go. If he was Prime Minister still, Justin Trudeau, would he have worn sneakers, do you think?
He may have, but he may not have worn those ones.
No, he would have worn his fancy sneakers, I guess. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Jennifer, thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Aaron.